What's up, everybody? So today I want to talk about knowing yourself. The reason I say that is because my grandmother passed 12 years ago, and that was one of my most favorite person in the world. And I still miss her. I still get sad about it sometimes. And today I could feel myself off. Yeah, off. So I noticed it, but I didn't do anything about it. I just went on about my day. And as the day went on, I could feel it more and more. And I think I knew exactly what it was. So I had the opportunity to get in front of it. And I didn't. Now, the reason I want to talk about knowing yourself is so that when you have these situations, you don't do what I do. You don't let yourself just, let it build up throughout the day. Well, because it's not healthy, for one. And then the quicker you get in front of it, the easier it is to manage or control. And I didn't do that. So I kind of felt like I was out of place all day long. The good thing about it is that I've been through this enough to not really let it get the best of me. But it does make me feel bad when I think about it, like sad. And, well, I probably would have been sad anyway. But I think about it a lot, and I usually don't get that sad. So, it's really important that you follow what your mind, your body, just the signs that you see. Because it'll give you that opportunity to jump in front of whatever it is that you need to be in front of. Because sometimes when you just let things go on, by the time you start to deal with it, it's a little bit harder because your mind is more focused on it and is also focused on the bad part of it, missing them and being down and stuff, and that's not something that any relative would want. They can't really say because they're not here, but, if they was here, they say that they wouldn't want you to do that. So Thanksgiving and Christmas has always been a rough time for me. And finally last year, I was able to have a normal Thanksgiving and Christmas. And, it felt good. It felt real good. I decorated the tree. The kids redecorated it. And, I want to repeat that this year. And I will, I'm not going to let myself get back to that place that I was for 11 years that had me just sitting in my room on Thanksgiving and Christmas. And, it's a little selfish too, because you have people that want to hang out with you, celebrate this day, those days, and, you should want to see them happy. And I didn't think about any of that. And that was my fault because I was too wrapped up in feeling sorry for myself or whatever. My grandmother was one of the reasons I came out of my depression. And she never pressed me on it, she just basically let me come to her. The good thing that came from it was she let me know that she was there, but she also didn't press me to talk, which I appreciated. But it took me 2 years to finally get it out there to her, and she was letting me take my time. And sometimes we all need that, Because when we feel pressed, we neglect to say what we need to say so that they can understand what we're going through. And we tend to block things out. And, it's not something you want to do. You want to make sure that you're in the best position to handle anything that comes your way. And part of doing that is getting in front of it when things like that happen. Yeah, I miss her a lot. But she had cancer, so I'd rather she be where she is instead of her still suffering. I could deal with that. I could live with that. I have. But, my grandmother was a lovely lady. When she had cancer, she was still trying to work. She was crazy. And, the women in my family basically raised us. Me, my brother, sisters, cousins. They pretty much did it alone. They did a really good job too, because, we don't really have records. We're not perfect, but we don't really have like significant like murder or selling drugs or anything like that on our records. We was pretty good kids for the most part anyway. I mean, we've made our mistakes, but the women in our family had, they held us down. They wouldn't allow us to be products of our environment. They wouldn't let us fall into the negativity that the streets can offer you. They stayed on us every time. And, when you get older, you learn to appreciate that. That's when I learned to appreciate it. One thing, I've never said this. Well, my wife knows. But one thing I haven't really told anyone is that the week before my grandmother died, she was in the hospital. She was fussing about not going to hospice. She wouldn't listen to nobody that she could do hospice at the house. So she was mean that day. Like, she was mean to everybody, and she's usually not a mean person. But I guess she knew what was coming. And, she told me that I would be the one that would keep the family together. And, that was fine. I had no idea that, like, what all comes with that. But I've tried to hold true to that promise that I made her. I think for the most part I have, but you can't force people to do anything they don't want to do. Good thing about that is, we don't really have those issues. Well, not all the time in our family. We usually have a ball when we get together and appreciate each other's company. And that's what she would have wanted. That's what all of my family that's passed would have wanted. Right now I have a great uncle who is the lone survivor of that generation. And then it drops to my mother's generation. And, we've lost a couple people in her generation already. A couple weeks ago, I lost an uncle and I lost an aunt in the same week. And it was different sides of the family, but the funerals were on the same day, which made life extremely difficult. And I drove from Minnesota to Chicago and, get things together. That was on a Thursday. Friday, we got things together for the funeral. Saturday, went to my uncle's funeral because his was earlier. Then went to my cousin's funeral. And, after that, the family hung out the next day. We came home. So I didn't give myself that time that I know that I needed to go into a room by myself and just sit there and hang out, and focus on what it is that I was going through. I didn't give myself that time. And I kept saying that I was, and I neglected to, but I have always wanted to make sure that everybody else was okay, so everybody was having fun. And I guess I don't necessarily need to be that person, but for the most part, I've always been. So I don't feel like it's right for me to like switch up on them. I think I am one of the better people that could help everybody, get through everything. And that's why I continue to do it. We all need somebody that we know could handle anything that's coming our way. And, everybody know, well, maybe I just feel like this, but we all know it's me. I think a lot of us are like that, but I've been taking care of people since I was really young, and I've never minded. That's my family, I'll do almost anything for them. Almost anything for them. I don't want them to hear this either. But, I spend most of my life protecting the people that I love. And, it's never been a big deal for me because, well, I wanted to, I wanted people to feel protection that I didn't feel, as a kid. And I guess that's why I adopted that so early in my life. And, my mother was a single mother of 4 kids. And sometimes she'd have 2 or 3 jobs at a time. And, I used to get my younger brother, younger sister for school. And I was only 9. Yep, I was only 9. I had no idea the impact that would have on my life. And at first I let it affect me in a wrong way. So I was upset at my mother for leaving us in the house. And, I should have been giving that energy to our fathers. And I just did it to my mother because they wasn't there, I guess. And I'm not making any excuses. It wasn't right. My mother always took care of us. She always did everything that she could for us. And I appreciate her so much for it, because I know dealing with me was a struggle. And she tell me all the times that she had to be hard on me because I was hard growing up. Because we used to tell her that she treated my little brother better than she treated the rest of us. How siblings get jealous when you could see something being awarded to one of the other brothers or sisters and it's not you. Yeah, that was my younger brother. And yeah, we was kind of jealous of that, but my mother did what she needed to do to take care of us. And she raised us right. So the times when I've had to get us up for school and I've had to get us to school, get us home from school, make sure we did our homework, those times I had to do that, we were good. We were taught that if we're home alone, not to answer the door. We never did. We had an uncle that was at the door, and we wouldn't let him in because my mother told us not to. We was more afraid of her than we were of him. Everybody's afraid of my mom, and she's like 5'1", 110, maybe 115 pounds. But she's mean. Like, I'm 37 years old, and she still hits me for my kids, for their entertainment. So, yeah, I can't wait till I pay them back. But I'm kind of scared too because my mama gonna find out. So one thing that I want to say is, if you don't have that deep personal connection with yourself, I encourage you to get it, man, because the better you know yourself, the better you are equipped for anything, and I've went through the process of, doing that work And it's not easy. It's hard work because you have to face those things you do like and face those things you don't like as well. You got to face those things like your biases. So you have to deal with all of that. And it's not easy to just change something that you've been comfortable with for so long. But if you're not taking care of you, who can you depend on to take care of you? Nobody ever take care of you the way that you will. And that is a fact. And that's why it's so important for us to do the work so that we know what we want, when we want it. We know what to do when we need to do it. But don't be like the knucklehead I am and just let things go by. Deal with it. It's the best for your mental health, and nobody that cares about you want to see you in a bad place, and I think a lot of times what we have to do is stop and realize that we have people around us that care about us a lot. We have people around us that want to see us doing good. And when we don't do that work, we don't give them that opportunity to see us in a good place. We give them like a watered down version, but we got to do that work. You know what I mean? Because especially if you got kids, your kids will see it. Trust me, my kids can see when something's wrong with me and I got a smile on my face. Not too many people can do that or see that for me, but they always do. But they're kind of crazy too. They're a little crazy. Yeah, so let's do the work, man. Let's do what we need to do to get ourselves better prepared for our situations. And then also, let's get ourselves better prepared to help others, To me, that's how you measure success. That's how you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You could be cool. You could be doing everything you need to do. But if you can't help anyone get to where they need to be, and some of your issues are the same, I don't think that's success. Is giving back is what I think, everybody should do. I think we all should be giving back because things could be taken away from us at any moment, and people too. So you don't want to take those things for granted. You just want to be there for everybody, support everybody, do what you're supposed to do for them. But if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't do that for nobody. And that's the truth of it. You cannot do anything for anybody that you can't do for yourself. So it's like if I would have told someone today that they need to, do the work to, well, I guess I just kind of did, huh? But if you, if you tell them that, it's kind of being hypocritical. Like, yeah, you deal with your stuff. Because as you can see, like I said, I let mine go on too long today. And, I don't usually do that. But it's been a rough 4 months with my PTSD and my anxiety and wanting to get back to work. It's been a lot. But, sometimes I ask myself, like, why me? And it's not a bad question. It don't sound like a good question. But I also ask myself, why not me? And then if not me, then who? One thing that I believe in is if you're not willing to do the work, you can't expect anybody else to do it. So I actually like learning more and more about myself. And like this PTSD is interesting. It's very interesting. But, it gives me the opportunity to learn about myself, to better myself for to better myself for myself first, and then to better myself for like family and friends that go through stuff that need that talk. And it's important that we have those conversations with the people that we love, because if we don't, and then let's say something goes wrong with them or something happens to them, that's kind of on us, because we refuse to be what they needed us to be. And we had the work or the experience to help them with it, and we decided not to. One thing about life is everything's a choice. Everything's a choice. And, we make those decisions. A lot of times it could be based on like emotion. And I'll try to encourage you not to do that. One of the things that I work on as well is not speaking from that place of emotion, because your message can get lost in your emotion. It can sound different, and you don't really want it to sound that way. But yeah, man, it's hard work to get to this place. That I know for sure. I know that for sure. But I also know the work can be done. I know it's very doable. And if you're going to dedicate yourself to something, why not dedicate yourself to you? Why not trust in what you know you can be and what you know you can accomplish? It's like, put that trust in yourself. Give yourself that confidence you need to move forward. One of my sins is, I don't know if it was mine. I probably took it from somebody. But you can't focus on getting yourself prepared for tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow will always be today. And I don't know if I took on that to give myself like some type of assurance or something, but I do work that's needed right now. Well, that's my goal. That's always my goal, is to do work that's needed right now. And lately it's just been learning how to deal with my PTSD, my anxiety. And I'm not 100% good at it. I'm not, but I'm still learning, and that's fine with me. As long as I know that it's work that's to be done, then I'll keep doing it. I'll do the work. And, I don't mind doing the work, because that lets me know that I'm getting better, as I'm willing to engage with myself, or if I'm willing to find something else that I can work on. And I try to do that constantly. There's nothing in my life that I'm not willing to talk about with anybody, because I've made peace with almost everything. Still trying to make peace with this PTSD, but I handle it well. I think I handle it well. Well, better than I was at the beginning of it. At the beginning, I had no clue what was going on with me. I would be up all night, and I still be up all night sometimes. But I just didn't know what was going on. I'm always positive, and I knew it was a problem when I couldn't be positive, and it lasted about from like 8 p.m. one night to like maybe 1 or 2 p.m. the next afternoon. So I knew that was a problem, and I didn't even get help at that time. Once I started to feel better, I felt like I had it, like I could get it, like I got this. I tell myself that all the time because I do believe in my capabilities. But, this wasn't the case. It wasn't the case at all. Because when it came back, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing. So I had a few nights that was like that, and I'm glad that I went through that so that if somebody have a traumatic experience, I can tell them signs that they can look for just in case. They signs might be completely different than mine, but I can give them a direction to go, and that's important for me anyway. Because that's not information I want to keep to myself. That's information that I think everybody should know. Well, everybody that's dealing with, stuff like PTSD and depression and everything. I think that's stuff that'll help them maybe have that confidence in themselves to also do the work. But we got to set them up for success. And that's what I believe in. Setting people up for success. Especially if it's something that I've been through. I know somebody else has been through it. And why keep all the information to myself? Why not share with somebody? Why not help somebody to help somebody else? You will hope that people will pay things forward that's been good that happened to them. I mean, it's not your call, or it's not something that you have to make sure happen. But I believe if people do good to other people, then everybody will pay it forward. But I could be thinking highly of everyone as well, and I like to see the greater good in everybody. No matter how much of a butthole you are, I think there's always that good person somewhere inside of you. Sometimes you just got to work to pull it out. But that's okay too. Because if you sit and have a conversation with me, yeah, I'll get it out. You could be mad if you want to, but I won't let you. A lot of times I won't even argue with you. I keep the same tone and the same words that I would if we were completely calm. It's kind of hard to fight against that, right? It's hard to want to argue with somebody that's not mad and that won't get mad. And that's what I like, man, because that's how you have those good conversations. You can be upset. Your voice can get a little elevated if it need to. But one thing we got to do is just listen. Two people can't argue at the same time. Most of the times when you're arguing, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. But what was I finna say? I forgot. Yeah, well, what I was saying was just, let's do the work to get better acquainted with ourselves so that we can help somebody else see how that look. So we can help somebody else feel how that look or feel how that feels. And it really is a good feeling. You know what I mean? It really is. Like, I love the way that I am. Some of my habits are a gift and a curse. I love people, so I'm willing to give anybody a chance. That drives my wife crazy. It drives my wife crazy. But she know how I am as well. Everybody's always told me I was too nice. And that hasn't always been the case, I could promise you. But I would rather that be the case than not. I'd rather be too nice than too mean, you know? And with me being, ouch, just kicked the chair. With me being comfortable with myself, me having a conversation is easy. There's nothing you could say that'll make me uncomfortable or even regret our conversation. We grew up with, if you're vulnerable, people will take that as a weakness. Let them. Ain't got nothing to do with you. It's like, it hurts them. It doesn't hurt you. You'll continue to go on and keep being positive and keep striving for greatness while someone else is trying to bring you down. The only way for that to happen is for you to let them. And it's never worth it. It's really not. It's never worth it to feed into that, especially when people show you that that's the type of person that they are. But I'm the type of person where you actually have to show me. I know that, people feel like some people just shouldn't be trusted. And that's fine, given the experience with them. But you can't inhabit everybody's experiences either. You have to make your own experiences. You have to make up your own mind for whatever person you're talking to. You can't let anybody do it for you because you have a misconception of who they actually are. And you wouldn't want anybody doing that to you. I wouldn't want anybody doing that to me, So I don't do it to people. I don't treat people the way I want them to treat me. I treat people the way that I think people should be treated. My mother always told us that if you've been good to somebody and they do you wrong, continue to be good to them. I think I said this before. You don't have to follow them around or kiss their butt or something. But continue to being a person that you have always been. Because the moment you stop is when you allow them to change who you are. And then when that happens, they have a power over you that you never wanted them to have. So if they wanted to mess up your day in a split second, it could happen. And that's why it's not worth it, Get to know your biases, get to know who you are. Like 100%. And it takes work. A lot of times we'll think we know exactly who we are. But when you have those conversations with yourself and you are hard on yourself with those conversations, you'll bring a lot of stuff out. And it's okay. That just means you'll deal with it. It just means that, you got work to do. I like the fact that I'm not perfect, that I'll always be a work in progress. Because I'm always look forward to working on myself. And it feels even better when you got somebody going with you. It feels better when you could look to the left here and say, I'm not perfect. And they say, I ain't perfect either. We got work to do. Let's do it. But you ain't gonna find too many people that's willing to say that they need to do that work either. It's hard for people to accept their own shortcomings. I don't know why, but yeah, people don't like saying what they got to work on with themselves. They'll point out what everybody else needs to work on, though. But we got to do the work, man. We got to do the work. And I know if you're listening to this, I know you can do the work. I know you have all the tools to get started. And believe it or not, those tools are all with you. Trust me. sometimes we just got to figure out how to pull it out of ourselves. You know what I mean? And that's fine, because it's a lot of work. It is. It's a lot of work. But the more you know that there's something you need to change and you're not getting at it, the harder you're going to work, or the harder you should work. My PTSD was one of the best things that's happened to me. And that's because it made me see things like I broke my left wrist, fell 30 feet from a pole, 25, 30 feet from a pole, broke my left wrist, and I'm left-handed. So, everything was different. Like my life was completely different because not only could I not do things, but things that I could do, I had to do it in an unfamiliar way, which can be extremely frustrating to people because it's out of the norm. And I'll tell you another thing, there's nothing wrong with being uncomfortable. If you're not putting yourself in an uncomfortable position every once in a while, you're not giving yourself to that time to see what you can and can't deal with. So yeah, it's a lot to get us as people from point A to point B. And I mean, that's fine. Everybody should know that it's something that they could work on in themselves and should be able to point it out. I need to work on stop being so hard on myself. I'm extra hard on myself. And I'm not really hard on anybody else like that. But I got to expect more out of me. I have to expect more out of me. I want to set that standard. So if my kids are looking at me, or if my if my girls get a boyfriend, I want to have a good picture for them of what a good man is and how a good man treats a woman. And I think I do that. I don't think that they have any problems with it. They haven't said anything, but I encourage them to. I want my kids to be honest with me, 100% honest with me. And I know that's not always a realistic goal, but I also try to make sure that they have that safe place to want to come and talk to me. Or their mother, the girls, I would rather they talk to their mother, because I don't want my daughters date nobody, man. Not a single soul. They could be single all their life. I'll be fine with that. It's kind of selfish, right? So what? Leave me alone. I'll be selfish then. No, my girls are beautiful, Long hair. One of them have really thin, fine hair. The other one has a thick, nappy hair. But they got pretty hair, you know what I mean? And, they're pretty girls. I don't want anybody to have them, I don't know. I don't want to see my kids go through pain or having their feelings hurt. I don't want them to go through that. And there's nothing that I could even save them from. There's those things that happen, especially between a boy and a girl, or a man or a woman. It's like we mess up sometimes. And it's not really intentional. Well, it can be, I guess, but that's kind of messed up if it is. But yeah, if you listen to my podcast, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. If you know someone that could benefit from some of the things that I talk about, let them hear it. If there's anyone that has any questions, or have a topic or something that they feel I'd be good at speaking about, or just something that they're curious about, send me a message. You could look me up on Facebook, Dante, Donta Hughes, Hughes. And yeah, just send me a note or send me a message. If you want me to respond there, I respond there. If you'd rather I do it in a podcast, I do it in a podcast. But my life has given me the opportunity to go through a lot of experiences. And not all of them good. A lot of them was actually pretty fucked up. But yeah, if you're listening, I appreciate it. I hope it's something that I said that you can pull from here that'll resonate with you, and you could apply it to your life, or something that you understand that'll help you, further your personal growth. All for personal growth, man. Or woman. If you guys have any suggestions for me, feel free to leave me those too. I like feedback, critical feedback as well. Like, I have no problem with somebody giving me suggestions, I take that as them trying to help me grow and caring enough to help me grow. So, I appreciate you guys. I hope you have an awesome, awesome, awesome Thanksgiving. I know I will. I'm going to make sure of that. But I'll talk to y'all later. And yeah, be blessed, Pray for me, my family. I pray for yours. And believe it or not, it's possible. I pray for everybody in the world on a consistent basis. Sometimes I forget to pray for myself. And, I have to go back and do it because I can't just leave me out. But, yeah, let's have more compassion for each other. Let's push each other to the next levels. Let's help each other become good people, or see what we need to see to become good people. We live in a divided country right now, and it shouldn't be. So I know we can't do everything for everybody. People are going to want to be, a unit. But like I said, we can't force them to do it. The only thing we could do is offer some help, or offer a conversation. And that's fine. Let's do that. Let's start those conversations. Mental health is not talked about. Let's talk about that. Let's get people to talk about it. Comfortable talking about it. You have no idea how many people you can help if you speak about your situation. All right, y'all. I'm Dante. I am Audi 5000, bro. All right, y'all. Have a good night and a safe holiday. Later.